All right, everyone. So the third, I'm just gonna keep counting. The third webinar of MSP Launchpad, right? And we'll just, as we progress and as we do this more often, we'll become better at giving more value. And this one is pretty value packed. Like, this is a good webinar that will really give you a lot of information on one of my favorite things in the whole wide world, which is Google Ads. And it's also something where most MSPs, actually, I think more than half of the MSPs that come to us, they've already engaged in Google Ads some form, and I have never seen one that actually really made it work very effectively before we stepped in, right? So Google Ads are difficult, and there's a lot of things that are really important to keep in mind. You got to hit all the fundamentals in order to make it work. So we're just gonna share a lot of our insights, give you a lot of tips. While we do that, I hope you don't mind. It's actually Friday evening. It's kind of late here, and I'm having it's kind of like a beer, but then it's not because it's alcohol free. So it's like basically a glorified soda. But I hope you don't mind that I drink this while we're basically sharing our company secrets with you. Oh, that's refreshing. All right, let's get into it. So before we jump into all this, you might be wondering, like, hey, why should I listen to you? So here's a story, right? We were working with an Australian MSP, or actually they came to us and they've already been advertising for like a year. And I see my keyboard is dying. Oh, shoot. Good. So an Australian MSP came to us, and they'd already been advertising for a year, and they had spent, well, in Australian dollars, well north of 75K during that year, and it got them zero results, right? So this is more than 50K in USD that they had spent on Google Ads with zero results, right? That is not a good time. So they contacted us, and we stepped in, and we did everything that was necessary in order to make this system work. And the result was from going from spending 50K, $7,500 a month in Australian dollars, and just getting nothing, to us stepping in. We reduced their advertising budget to 5K, so they went from 7.5 to 5, and then added our fee on top, but it still left them in a profit, so it was cheaper than before. But now they were getting leads, and they got the first sale in like a month or something, right? So this is a good time for them. So it's like, this is kind of the difference between knowing how the stuff works and not knowing. And I like it because the story has some extremes, which is spending 50 grand and having a team of highly intelligent people looking at this, but then still not being able to figure it out because there's just too many moving parts, right? So you really need to have the practice in this, which again is why listening to this webinar might be a good idea. And then just having that experience and having done this multiple times and being able to shortcut having to spend all this money on learning and just giving us a tiny bit of money and being out way cheaper and just getting results like that. Okay, so, just want to say this, grab a notepad because we're going to touch a lot of points here, and you might think you might remember everything, but just write some stuff down. Turn off your social media, turn off your phone, just pay attention because we're really doing this to help you out. Okay, so more about why you should listen to me. So I used to work in the MSP. I was the head of sales and marketing and the international one. We've helped close to 100 MSPs. And like interviews and stuff and doesn't really matter. I trained some 9 and 10 figure people, which was cool. Okay, so more stuff like, hey, MSP Launchpad's cool. They're getting us leads and sales, and we don't struggle with leads anymore. Now we need to hire engineers, which is also difficult. So that's kind of us, right? So we do Google Ads very well, and we only help MSPs. We don't serve anyone else. So here's what we're going to discuss during this webinar. It's like, you can already tell, right? I'm also going to be looking at my screen as I'm walking through this. it's the nature of the beast. Like if there is a TV screen on somewhere or any kind of screen, my eyes just naturally get drawn to it. But also I need to read the slides every once in a while. It's like, just to be honest. So I'm just gonna go and like mix it up a little. I'll try to speak to you, but then we also have the slides. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about what is PPC. We're going to like talk about setting it up. We're going to talk about targeting bidding strategies, measuring success, the best practices, and then whether or not it's a good fit for you. Okay, so what is PPC? PPC stands for pay-per-click advertising. And pay-per-click advertising is, you might guess, the kind of advertising where you pay-per-click. So you only spend money when someone is actively looking or like interested in your services. So like you have, let's say you have a highway with cars, boom, 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 and there's a billboard somewhere. I mean, lots of people are going to look at it, but probably not remember. But they're not doing that because they have a need, right? There's just a billboard and like people's eyes go by it, just like having an advertisement on TV. But in this case, people really have specific interest in what you're offering, which is why they're clicking. Then there's still some differences inside PPC as well. So for example, you have the PPC on Facebook where you're pushing an offer in front of someone and just saying, hey, are you interested in this? And then you have search engine PPC like Google Ads, Microsoft Ads, etc., where they're actually like typing, trying to find your stuff. So if they are typing, trying to find your stuff, then, I mean, it makes sense to have some advertisements there because even though, yes, it costs money, now you're showing your material, your goods, your product to people that are searching for it and are in buying mode. So, yes, we like PPC. Google Ads is very popular. Microsoft Ads is starting to pick up. I think they are hilarious. Like, it's a little bit. Microsoft Ads is a little bit dodgy from time to time. They are a little bit too loose with just taking your money, even though you set strict parameters for in which they should operate. Microsoft Ads might just be inclined to just say, oh, those are your parameters that I should operate in. But I think don't do that and I'll still take your money. So Microsoft Ads let's just say there's a learning curve there as well. They operate very similarly in execution as Google Ads. In fact, it's like near identical. If you know how to operate Google, you would also know how to operate Microsoft. But Microsoft actively engages in changing keywords and is very loose with when you say, hey, I want to show up when people search for this. They will also just start showing your stuff on other searches, on other search engines. Like you need to be, it's a hassle to work with Microsoft Ads. So I like, but they're cheaper and there's potential. There's a bit of a rant. Sorry about that. It's like about that platform. Like, okay. I see also sometimes my connection is breaking up a little. Sorry about that. I hope you don't mind. But it is the way it is for now. So setting up a PPC campaign, right? What do we do? So what's the campaign objective? With us, it's always going to be lead generation. There's different ways of doing it. You can just say like, hey, we sell MSP services, sign up here. Or you might want to have what's called a lead magnet. You might know it as like a brochure that people can download and use that to get people interested in your services. So lead magnets would be more popular on platforms like, let's say, LinkedIn, sometimes Facebook, some stuff that's really designed to like create an interest, you know, like maybe like a cool case study, something like that. But when you go on Google Ads and people really have an express need, you might be more inclined to just say like, hey, these are the goods. Come buy my stuff. If you're interested, reach out and do it today, right? So define your campaign objective. What do you want to do? Do you want to nurture? Do you want to create initial sparks? Or do you just straight up want to fish for that lead? Now, keyword research. So for Google Ads and Microsoft, you're going to have to do keyword research quite extensively. And you need to know what kind of keywords basically indicate buyer's intent, right? So as MSP Launchpad, we've run bazillion campaigns on both Google Ads and SEO, and we've made assumptions in the past that turned out to be wrong. So for example, for a keyword like IT consultant, you might think like, hey, well, someone's searching for IT consultants. This would be a good keyword to bid on because, we're IT consultants. And that is, for example, an assumption that we made where we were wrong, because years of advertising has taught us that IT consultant is just not a good return on investment, right? And there's other keywords that are much more effective. So this is a freebie. We offer this stuff for free. We have the list of keywords ready on our website. No one's doing this. This is a very, very valuable list. It can save you tens of thousands of dollars and really shortcut the learning process. So go to msplaunchpad.com and get that list of keywords, the MSP keywords cheat sheet. And just jump in and get that, because it will save you a ton of money. Okay, so other things that you want to do when you are setting up a PPC campaign, other tips and tricks. So broad match keywords. There's different keywords that you can use when you set up an advertising campaign. So there's exact match, phrase match, and there's broad match. And basically what it means is that if you have exact match, for example, you have IT support, and you set it as an exact match keyword. That means that it should only show up if that person types exactly IT support. No more, no less, no different words, etc. That's it. Unless you're on Microsoft and you tend to do exact match, you might also show for banana. Well, that's okay. That's a bit much. But Microsoft is like, even if you tell exact match, they're like, exact match is a relatively loose term to them. So, and then we have phrase match. Let's say we have IT support again. Now, phrase match means that you have a core. IT support is the core, and you can have words behind it or before it, right? So you can IT support location, IT support, small business, IT support, etc., etc., etc. The name goes on. So when you do that, you also need to have a good negative keyword list, but we'll get to that later. And then broad match is like anything that is related or could reasonably be related to IT support, you can show up for that. So broad match is what advertising platforms will try to make you do. In fact, they will recommend it once you've set up your campaigns. They'll be like, hey, you should turn it into broad match. You'll make more money. You're going to get more conversions. Nah, you're not. They're just going to take your cash and walk away with it. Within the MSP industry, broad match is a bad idea. So just don't even try it. There's other industries where this really works. But for MSPs, no, just don't do it. Okay? Phrase match, exact match. And when you do phrase match, you need a good negative keywords list. So for example, I'm just going to use an example, right? What's a negative keyword? Negative keyword is that if that shows up in the search when people are typing and they want to, like, they're on Google and they have a combination of keywords, for example, IT support location, but they might type free IT support. If you put free in your negative keyword list, now they're not going to show you up on that advertisement. You're not going to show up because you said, like, when people type free or whatever other kind of thing, then I don't want to show, which is like they allow you to do that. So if you want to make a negative keyword list, ChatGPT is your friend. Like, this is something that before ChatGPT, there was no way in hell that you would have access to this information. This was a very painstakingly built asset for marketing agencies, investing hundreds of thousands of dollars in order to build these lists. But there you go, ChatGPT, right? It's not exactly like that, because even if you do your keyword research and you use our list and you're going to go to ChatGPT, etc., you're still going to waste quite a bit of money at the beginning, because you're not going to do it perfect the first time. Plus, you don't have the AI learning that you can put on your account. So, for example, what we have is like, we have this machine learning algorithm that we've nurtured over time, and we can just duplicate that across accounts and like increase your targeting, right? So, okay, so we still have some advantage in terms of assets. I mean, actually quite a lot. But the negative keyword list, the fact that you guys have access to that now is awesome. Just be careful that when you make these negative keywords, you again need to define whether they're exact match or phrase match, and just go with the phrase match one. And then, because if you do exact match, then you're not going to show up if people type exactly free, but they're never going to type that, right? They're going to type free IT support. So use the phrase match where you make negative keywords. If you don't know how to interact with ChatGPT, just ask it. Like, go to the website, be like, hey, I want to make a negative keyword list. I have no idea what to do. Like, walk me through it, and then it'll take care of you. That's a good tip, by the way. This is a hack. If you don't know what to do, just ask it. Like, hey, I need to do this. Like, can you teach me how to do it? How do I prompt you, etc. Okay. So if you're going to be making ads, now you need to have direct response copy. You need to have flair. You need to have style. You need to think about your target audience. Who are you trying to attract? Larger corporates, smaller businesses, which industries are they in, etc. What kind of verbiage do they use? What kind of verbiage can I use to connect with them? That's how you want to structure your headlines. These are the kind of things where ChatGPT is still a little behind, but right now we're at the beginning of 2023. So that's going to change in 1 or 2 years. I'm sure it will be able to do much more. But right now, direct response copywriters get a good one is still king. And then all of that stuff is just setting up the campaigns, actually setting up the offer page, getting the right landing page on the right website is critical. If you don't have a good offer on a good website, it doesn't matter how much money you push, you're going to throw it all away. Take a look at the example that we had at the beginning of this presentation. Can we click? Voila. Okay, so targeting and bidding strategies. This is relevant, especially for you. So these are some of the things that MSPs don't consider when they set up advertising campaigns, which is that, okay, so they'll be like, okay, I'm in a city or I'm in an area and I want to advertise all the way around here because I can take customers up to 100 miles away or kilometers or whatever. But the thing is that conversion increases the more local the prospects are. So what you want to do for your given budget, you want to take the range in which you can spend that budget, but you don't want to go wider than that. So it takes a little bit of experimentation. So you can take a small range, see how your budget responds to it, and then build out the range, or of course the opposite direction. It doesn't really matter as much, but you want to take that approach because if people are closer to you, the chance of conversion is higher. You can also adjust your landing pages to really say like, hey, we're local, right? Get local pictures and that kind of stuff. That will tremendously increase how many leads you're getting. So do that. Think about device targeting. What you're going to do is you're going to set up your campaign. You're going to let it run a while. You're probably going to see that on mobile, you're going to have way fewer conversions. And then you might decide to turn off showing your ads on mobile. That is probably a good move. It's going to depend on your local area, but we do this quite often in our campaigns. So then audience targeting. So there's different ways to segment inside Google where you can say like, well, I want business owners or rich people or whatever. One of the audience segments that you need to have are the ones that have already visited your website, right? And feed them different ads and retarget to them with banners and that kind of stuff. Okay. Bidding strategy, just put it on maximize conversions. Next topic. So retargeting is great for people that have already visited your website. You want to create some really beautiful banner ads that match the style and brand that you have on your website. And then you want to follow these people around with these cool banner ads that you see everywhere on the internet, or at least normal humans do, because you probably have an ad blocker. But normal people, they don't have ad blockers and they still see these ads everywhere, right? So you want to create those and like make them follow people around. It's really cheap. Like for $100 a month, you'll be okay. The only problem with it is that you need to have a certain amount of visitors on your website throughout a certain period of time, because otherwise you don't meet the threshold. The thing's 1,000 visitors before you can retarget. So yeah, do the retargeting. It's cheap. You'll get the clicks. You'll stay top of mind, and you can normally, I think the default is set. I know it's funny actually. I don't remember this. 60 days, I think the default is, but just crank it up to 180. There's no problem whatsoever. Keep showing your ads to them. It's real cheap. Just do it. Okay, so and then tips for optimizing your bids. So what I like to do is take the ranges that are real close to your MSP and then just bid a little bit extra and make sure that you always show up in those searches. And you can make separate landing pages for that as well. You could be like, make a landing page where you say, I'm within a 1 mile or 2 mile radius, and then get your Google map in there and say like, look, this is where we are. We're practically neighbors and we're so good at cybersecurity, etc. Right? So those are strategies that you want to employ. Yes, takes a little bit more work, but it makes, it pays for itself. It makes scaling a lot cheaper. Cool. So, you want to track your conversions. So you want to put pixels throughout your website. Pixels are the things that track visitors, make sure and like track how they move across your website. So you want to make sure that the conversion tracking setup is really easy. Just do a search on whatever on YouTube to find out how to do it. You do need to have access to your website in order to make that work. You want to check out key performance metrics. And to be honest, this is probably going to be a little bit meaningless to you because you don't really have perspective or data on other campaigns. So you're not sure how well you're doing. And also things fluctuate per season, per month. So while this is important for you, it's actually more about, hey, is my cost per acquisition, is my cost per sale something that I can stomach? Or does it excite me, or is it not acceptable, right? So some best practices in terms of copywriting, make sure that you really, if you can, put in things that really represent an offer, do it. So if you have great SLAs, like a response time within 1 or 5 minutes or 10 minutes, depending on your market and competition, put that stuff in. Make sure that you optimize your ad and your headlines get a nice high ad score, reduces your cost per click a little. Make sure that your ad relevance is high. Make sure that that's like ensures that Google shows it more often. And you need to really keep in mind who your target audience is, because yes, it is a numbers game, but it is a human game as well. You're still speaking to people, right? So you want to be human about it and treat people who come to your website like actual people, and you need to design your system as such. As for advertising budget, it says $2,000 here. That's really minimum. That's also why that text is purple. That is minimum in a region where the Google ads are not expensive, right? So this is a town. You're not inside a large city. Maybe a little bit remote. With that kind of location, yes, there are things you can achieve at $2,000 a month. However, I mean, certainly, like there's tons you can achieve at $2,000 a month, and you can get a sale in month 1. We have case studies like that, but I don't recommend it, because if you can do a little bit more comfortably, right? Now you're gonna have like this flood of leads, and it's just way more fun and way more it's way more constructive. You become better at sales, you become better at tracking, you become better at training your team to answer calls a certain way. When you have like a higher lead volume, it really improves your business. So you want to get that cranking. And what you could always do is start with SEO and Google Ads at the same time. Start with Google Ads nice and high, because then you get that extra revenue coming in, and then you can always reduce it over time, right? See, like that shadow on my chest is kind of annoying me, but we're just at webinar 3 here, and we're constantly iterating. So we'll change that around in the future. Okay, so best practices for MSPs. More of it. So make sure your messaging is clear, concise, and if you have a USP, demonstrate it. If you have unique selling points, demonstrate it. If you have specific knowledge inside industries, demonstrate it. If you have testimonials or case studies in industries, demonstrate it. If you have knowledge of industry-specific software, demonstrate it. You want to build authority and trust, right? So it's critical. So do that. Also, I'm not sure. I'll just say it here because I'm not seeing it here. So one of the mistakes that we made when I say we, I actually mean I, because that's when I started, and now the team is much larger than me. But when I started, I had the idea that you'd be able to upsell from break fix projects into MSP services. Over the years, I found that to be suboptimal. The only category of service delivery where I think that is effective to advertise with are compliance based. So FINRA, HIPAA, that kind of stuff. You can advertise on that and kind of like quite reliably still upsell to MSP services. So I would recommend it in that industry. Those levels, sorry, not industries, levels of service delivery, I would not recommend it for anything break fix related. So just focus purely on MSP services direct or maybe compliance stuff. At least that's what we're doing right now and having good success with. Ad extensions, these are like the small optimizations, but they're very easy to implement, so you should always do them. It just takes like an hour to get it set up, and it gives you more real estate in the search engine. It creates extra links under your ads. It's like, it does a whole bunch of stuff. It can show your phone number. There's whole things that you can do to make your ads bigger. And if you have a bigger ads, now the competitor is going to be further down, right? And you're going to stand out more. Also, by the way, on point B, I know I'm jumping back and forth a little, but on point B about making sure your messaging is clear and concise, for the love of everything that's holy, make sure that you, when you have your headlines, your ad is going to alternate a few headlines. Make sure that in whatever things you alternate, there's always at least one reference to the fact that you only serve businesses. Right? Only serve enterprise, only serve brands, only serve that kind of stuff. Because if you're just going to say IT support or IT services, the amount of grandmas is overwhelming, right? You need to reduce the amount of grandmas because they will click and they will take your money and they will bother you with questions about like, oh no, my iPhone got hacked or something is not working. This is not what you want. So you need to make absolutely crystal clear before people click the ad. So the text in the ad should say like, hey, for businesses only, because this, like, not all grandmas are senile. In fact, most of them are as cognitive as they were when they were 20 or 30. So then they will know like, I need to get one of the other ones, which then unfortunately might be another MSP that didn't get this tip. So make sure that you really do that, because that tip alone can save you 30% on your advertising budget on a monthly basis. Also, what we didn't put in here is you need something like ClickSees or PPC Shield or anything that stops fraudulent clicks. Yes, it costs $80 a month. Yes, it can save you $1,000, $2,000 a month. The ROI is massive, right? Get it. You need those scripts. Get it installed. Okay, sorry, tangent again. So when you do ads on Google, you also have the option to show up in the map pack, right? It's just like a button you can click, and then now you're also showing up. If you have those ads here in the search engine on top, and then below that you have like that little map area with maybe like a few businesses where you can see the stars and the reviews and stuff. So you can also show up in there, but when you do that, make sure that you have enough testimonials, that you have a nice rating above like 4.7 or something, and that your Google My Business profile has some things like photos of case studies, befores and afters, server racks, images of yourself, etc. Right? So your Google My Business needs to be optimized and charismatic. So, is PPC for your MSP? Is there enough traffic for SEO? If there's not, then Google Ads might be a good fit. This is like such an easy distinction to make. So if in your area it's not so business dense, Google Ads is likely going to affect your area close to you. So you do not want to do SEO if there's not a lot of businesses around you, right? You might have to relocate your office or hire an office somewhere else so you can use that as a basis. But if you want to get customers and you need to be a little bit further away, Google Ads, right? If there aren't that many searches in an area, Google Ads can be attractive too, because Otherwise, you're investing a lot in SEO, but the search volume caps out early. And that would be a waste because the good thing about SEO is that it really scales up into infinity. Like if you're in a large city, like, I mean, I'm gonna like really go elite tier here, but let's say London, New York, etc. You can get a bazillion, like your MSP can just absolutely freaking explode, right? And so SEO is an amazing choice. I mean, it doesn't have to be one of those cities. It could be anywhere. It could be Portland or whatever. It doesn't have to be that massive. But if you're in a small rural town, then Google Ads might actually be a better choice because investing in SEO might never get you the results that you want. But at least with Google Ads, you would like reach the high tier of visibility straight away, even though if you turn it off, you'd lose it. Still very well be worth it. So another question for PPC, don't do it unless your website's optimized. We have another webinar on this, check it out. Like you're throwing your money away. So just if you're thinking like, I could try it, just don't. Give the money to your employees or whatever. Get a good website first. Even if you increase your conversion rate by just 10% or 20%, that means your cost per lead might reduce by a couple of $100, right? However, the difference between a good conversion-focused website and the garbage that we see in the market a lot is that the conversion rate goes from 0 to a few percent, which in absolute terms could be 10, 20, 30x in conversion rates, right? So you need to get that done. The ROI on it is like, makes it a no-brainer. So make sure you have enough cash to invest in Google Ads. Like 3K is nice, 5K is better, 8K is like, and now you're like really, it gets real sweet, but 5K is already real sweet, 4K is real sweet, 3K, 2K is like absolute minimum, 3K is like entry level, decent advertising. Might sound like a lot, but it's really not. If you think about like 3K, really should not be that much, specifically if you, if you compare to cost of advertising on TV, etc. This is much more effective. So, okay, was there anything that I missed? Yeah, be patient when you do Google Ads. Don't look at it every day. Don't make changes every day. You need to avert your eyes. You need to not overload the system because too many changes will break things. And even things like, I want to put more money, like that can really mess the system up. So small incremental changes, just a few every couple of days, not a few a day, no, a few every couple of days. Take it real slow, give it TLC, be patient. And yeah, if you're sick of not being number one, if you just throw enough money at the system and you have a great website and a perfect Google Ads setup, like you are cheating. If you have the right system and you throw enough money at it, you're straight up cheating. Like you're gonna explode. So Google Ads does work, but do it in the right order. Get the perfect website first. Invest in that first. Get your photos up there. Get all the fundamentals in place. Make sure that you have basically just the best websites that you can afford. And then start advertising and make sure that it's not dry, that it appeals to your target market, your target audience. Like you need a good website. I think I've said it 5, 6, 7 times now, but I need to drive it home because it is so important. Okay, so choose the right platform. Start with Google Ads. Microsoft Ads is going to absolutely destroy you if you're a beginner. It's downright evil what they do there sometimes. I hope they don't like find this and like punish me for saying this, but they've earned it. It's absolutely ridiculous. So you really need to be advanced to use it, but it's cheaper. So there's benefits to it. Get our cheat sheet for your keyword list. Can save you tens of thousands of dollars. Just do it. Get great ads, great landing pages, and then go live and get those sweet leads. So this is great. Google Ads is fantastic. And if you want us to run it for you, we take a holistic approach to lead generation online. We don't just do Google Ads. We make it, yes, we have the Google Ads, but we provide the whole system to make Google Ads work, right? Google Ads is about more than a Google Ads. It's about the website, the brand, the messaging, etc. There's like the consistency across everything, and also weaving this together makes everything cheaper. Paid ads makes SEO cheaper, SEO makes paid ads cheaper. So we make sure that we have the complete solution, and our package is called the MSP Growth Acceleration Program. And that's the one you need. Like if your website is a mess, this is your program. That's kind of what it comes down to. So it's got the SEO, it's got everything you need. We're going to help you get the testimonials to make sure that your SEO, your Google Ads become cheaper again. Well, it's like basically having, like, I don't want to get into this too much, but it's really, I can sincerely say, it's probably the best value deal in the market. It is very well executed on, and I am like, depending on who you are, this might be the perfect solution. So what we do always do is, because you know that Google Ads and SEO is dependent on the movement in the markets, right? How many people are searching, etc. So that is something that we always do before we start. We do a full analysis, and then we share you. We bring you in, and we share our screen, and we walk through the numbers together, and we cross-check the numbers across multiple platforms, and then we come to a conclusion together about whether or not this is a good move. And I mean, I've done this so many times now that I can kind of like see things coming already during the initial call. But we turn a lot of business away because, you know, we need to protect our reputation, and if we're not sure we can make it work, then it's not effective to collaborate. You'd lose money, we lose reputation. It's not a good mix. So, but if we can do it, then I really think that you should work with us, because doing it yourself is just downright crazy. I would not recommend that. Okay, so let me just read this line, and actually I don't think I haven't done that yet during this presentation. So if you're ready to say goodbye to being stuck or frustrated with your lead flow, here's your MSP's chance to generate leads sustainably, even in a recession. And that is a very good point. Like, there is no shortage of lead flow right now. It's just about having the right communication, right? That's it. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I hope you brought your little notepad, took notes, because if you have, then you've just become a lot smarter. Reach out if you need anything, and take care. It was nice to be able to serve you with this. Ciao.